What's up? Ha! I was waiting for somebody to say something about sound. Hey, welcome back. Show number 96, I think, if I can count right. I've been super, just got it set up, guys. How are you? Everybody says no sound. Who's Channel 5 Retracts? That's cute. Channel 6 Flaps, Channel 5 Retracts. Did he change his name? Who's Channel 5 Retracts? You guys, the sound is there, right? It should be there. Yeah, I was faking. Yeah. What's up? Oh, goodness, guys. Let's see. What are we talking about today? We'll do a shout out here in a minute, little roll call action. Yeah, Josh, get me your PayPal address, man. So, I'm not going to do it at this point, but Mikey likes it. Mikey likes it coming at you with the positivity in your comment sections. You can always count on that. Yeah, I know the sound's fine. I was joking, you guys. Let's see. So we've been putting up a lot of videos. I'm gonna pull them up and talk about them. Cab Mantim, what's going on? New to the channel. David Snyder in the house. Matthew Shalosky. Yeah, Mike Keller. Brad, what's going on? Eddie K. Olson. Jeff in Lower Alabama. William Mergita. Olson Furball. Reginald. Mike Keller. No, Channel 5 Retracts, that's hilarious. Do whatever you want, man, Mikey. Jordan Dole. Hey, cool, you flew the Bigfoot. That reminds me. Right on, Nate. Yeah, from my Horizon link, I think is what you told me, Nate. Thank you. Yeah, I think I saw that go through. Lionel Randall, what's going on? Francis Conti. Oh, my goodness. Jermaine Spencer. Reckham Roy. What's up with the full name deal? Edward and Gloria Hillbilly RC, and what's going on? Shadow Ops. Good show, man, with Dave and Dave. Low Flyer 101. All the jets I have, I want. Bobby, he's actually at a baby shower thing for a friend of his today. Rick, hello. Dave Snyder's liking the Carbon Cessna. Man, guys, what a good time, man. Here we are. We got 72 folks in here. Give it a thumbs up if you're cool. Give it a thumbs down if you suck. That's from my friend Kevin Talbot, by the way, I gotta say. I call him my friend. I mean, that's how you guys feel about me, right? Like when you watch a channel. Cool. And Ethan in Channel 6 won a Viper from me. And that's heading out on its way as soon as Hobby Zone can catch their breath. They've been really busy with the... they're working like 7 days a week a lot of the time right now. And they are mom and pop. You guys know what to do. Pilot Ryan Media, yada yada. Click your favorite brands, all that stuff. The OG up in here. Appreciate it. And a lot of you guys are doing that. And thank you so much, because it's tremendous. And it's great. And I need it. That's how we have good cameras for everything. I use the same camera for the live as I do for filming planes and such. It is a Karmann Ghia, bro. I love RC. I'm wearing the Pilot Ryan merch, man. I've got the hoodie on. I've got my coffee mug, and I got my Mike Kennedy sponsored Pete's coffee up in this mug. Channel 4 ventral fin, George Watts. Jackson Aviation, Charlie Stonex. Yeah, Bobby K's he's not here. He's not here. He doesn't tie himself to the channel like I do. I mean, he's my guy, but he doesn't tie himself to this the same way. And that's cool. I don't blame him. He's got stuff going on. We're gonna fly together tomorrow. We're gonna see each other tomorrow, and probably head out of town. He wants to get a final shakedown before Jet Jam on his big HSD stuff. I'm gonna take out the MiG-29 on the 3200 6S packs. Pilot Jerry just got his hoodie. That's awesome. That's really cool. Dennis Farley, what's up? Pilot Jerry, Victor. Not really me. Who is it then? Channel 1 throttle, unless it's Futaba, right? Something like that, maybe. Channel 1 full throttle Johnny. Oh, yeah, Sean Gallagher. I'm going to be there Thursday and Friday. Leave Saturday early. Race 22 crew, what's up? Channel 7 bomb drop. Oh, yeah, so comments. I had a couple good, I mean, I have a lot of bad ones, but I have some good ones that I wanted to, we'll just talk about in front of everybody, because they were pretty cool. And I like to, sometimes I think answering them in front of you all is a good idea. Yeah, Charlie, I like the new jet. I can't wait to fly it again. I mean, you guys see it in action, right? So, I mean, I can modify these things to make me look really good for video, but I want you to know what you're going to get. It appears to be obvious. No cream and sugar, Jay Burke. It seems to be pretty obvious that the spring could be stiffened or something like that on the front end. I don't have springs at my disposal, so what I'm going to do is just probably put a spacer in there to stiffen the spring. It will limit my travel a little bit, but that's kind of okay, right? So X-Max videos doing pretty good, guys. If you're into the surface stuff, don't miss the trucks, RC Trucks playlist on the channel. Yes, so this is why you follow. Here's one comment that I wanted to talk about with you guys. Just because. So, I set up these planes by the book, especially when the book is good. The E-flite stuff, the bind and fly stuff. I don't have to know why, I just do it. And a lot of times, you guys know that on the bind and fly, EDFs, Warbirds, whatever, from E-flite, a lot of times it'll say reverse the gear channel in the setup. Nobody really knows why, and I'm not sure everybody does it. I just do it because it says so, and my assumption was, and I heard him say this years ago, it seems like I remember, what was that Mustang called? It wasn't Blondie, it was the 1100 millimeter Mustang they had that was retracts and flaps. You guys remember? It wasn't Gunfighter, I mean it was retracts and flaps. What was that one called? Anyway, I think they were still talking about it at the time, but it seemed like with gear down, the assumption was that you're in landing configuration, you're going slower, and they would jack up the gains on the AS3X. Cool, thank you. Well, what happens if you don't reverse the gear like it says to? I don't know why they say to do it or whatever, who knows, I'm not the guy. But if the book says to reverse the gear, then their assumption is you follow that. And when you drop the gear, it all knows that it's okay. Landing configuration, slowing down, crank the gain on the AS3X. It's going to help you out. You're going slow anyway, and you're trying to land it. Well, again, what happens if you don't reverse the gear? And I'm correct about my assumption. What happens is you've got one guy who reversed the gear, the plane is flying perfect for him, and another guy who doesn't reverse the gear. At speed, it's oscillating like crazy. If I'm right, that's why. So a buddy of ours, we're all buddies, right? So much a buddy I don't remember his name. I could find out. He hit me through Facebook, I think. And we talked on the phone, because sometimes I take these, I'll see these comments or questions, and I'm on the road kind of a lot during the week. And so on Messenger, like I'll just hit the phone. icon and like call a dude, you know, because I can't type it, I'm driving. And so, exactly, Air Marshal. So the dude reaches out to me, and he had he knew what he was doing, you know, and he's got the E-flite F-16, and he's like, man, Ryan, man, the tail just wags like crazy. What do you know about you know, affecting the gains and things like that? And the guy had already plugged in and looked at the apps and there's a few different, Air Marshal's really the guy on this. But there's a few different numerical values that you can manipulate to affect a gain or an outcome. I love the stuff, but I've never programmed one. Like if it comes in the plane, like I'll never take it out. You know what I mean? But I've never programmed AS3X, although I made videos. I learned how to do gyros by making videos to teach guys how to use them. I did the Admiral stuff and the Hobby Eagle stuff a long time ago. So the guy really knew what he was talking about. I was like, you know what? Check out RC Air Marshal, the YouTube channel, because the dude is next level on those receivers and the setups. But if you're asking me, I would verify that you did the setup in your radio the way the book prescribed, because it could be as simple as that. Guy comes back at me, had a same thing. He messed with it, you know, had the same thing going on, and then he finally like looked at it, and he's like, "Yep, I didn't reverse it or whatever it was," and he did it, and it worked flawlessly. So that's what's up. Do what the book says. It doesn't have to make sense that it says to reverse the gear or whatever, flaps or I don't know, whatever. Just do it. Just do it. You're supposed to start with a brand new model memory anyway. If your plane is acting funny, double check that you did that correctly. You know what I mean? Because it's maybe an easy fix. You may not even need to program it at all. Just get in there and do what it says. Channel 5 retracts. That plane is a great plane. Mikey. That's a great plane to do custom paint on. Jeff's Custom, what's up? Raise the Roof. Drone Man, Guniac, Air Marshal, Barry Campbell. Yeah, so that was a cool one. That was a cool comment. It's always nice when somebody, you can help them. Just Wing It in the house. What's going on, dude? Guys, I'm excited to see what's coming around the corner. MiG-29 on the way, baby. Jermaine, your Timber X light up version on the way, too. Dave's RC, you know you click through your bro to get all that stuff. Yeah, follow the book on pre-programmed receivers and gyros, says the man of wisdom, George Watts. Lee Davidson, Daryl Dixon, Reckham Roy. You know, I'll have problems on... I've had to learn how to do the DX5C, and some of the receivers are AVC, which is like AS3X, but it's active vehicle control and surface. I don't really need it. But those receivers are a little bit more complicated. I've had to dig in and learn some things. And if you've got something completely foobarred, start over. You know what I mean? You can rebind. Dave's RC, I love you, man. Thanks. Robert Ortlup in the house. What's going on? Wild Bill Weaver. Yep. David C. Cool. Yeah. So anyway, if you got it completely messed up, if somebody's having trouble with their AS3X, the one great thing about the book. Now listen, it's not the golden rule, but it's a great point of reference, right? Just like me flying it, even though I think it might need modded out of the box, you see what you get. When YouTubers who got people watching and are trying to share their experience and not teach, that sounds preachy, teachy, but it's like, you know, take it or leave it. This is my experience. This is what I got out of the box. This is me having trouble. This is me not having trouble. This is me working it out. This is me trying to deliver for the company I'm working for on this project, and I'm flying in crazy winds because COVID put everything weeks behind. So I got beat up. I take it on the chin on some of these comment sections, especially a shakedown that's not going well or whatever. But most of you guys get why I do that. I mean, it's not my first day, right? So, point I'm trying to make, rebind, new channel, start over, zero out if you're having trouble. Dad in the house, what's going on? Jeff. Thanks, Josh. Exactly, just wing it. It's just not it's just not helpful. I mean, that's great. You can cowboy these things. You guys with channels know what I'm talking about. If you want to help people watching or give them the confidence to know what they're getting into, the truth is the truth is the truth. And if you have a point of reference, cool. Now, it's not the golden rule. A lot of times we'll tweak on the rates, but at least it's still a springboard from which we can talk from. Yeah, honestly, guys, I mean, Saturday or Sunday is the day we go out to get footage, unless we're in a real crunch and what I call is a school night. During the middle of the week, if we're in a real crunch, me and Bobby will meet over by his house at that school where we do stuff. We were gonna go out today, and I'm actually really glad we didn't. It was just a windy mess. He forgot about this baby shower deal, and if I went out of town to go fly at Winnemac, I was going to have to hurry back for the show. So we're going out tomorrow and going to have some fun. I really don't have a lot pressing. I do want to get the MiG-29 out again in a day that's not nuts, and on the 3200 6S packs, which are, you want to know how much lighter those are? I forget. David C. in the house. Dude, your avatar is cool, man. Keep up with the great information. Love the show. Man, appreciate you, David C. I think I said it in the update, but let's do it again, because I forget. I think it was almost 3 ounces. Rabbit, yeah, I got you, man. Yeah, I mean, that's a great mod for the nose. And that's the thing. I know what to do to make that work, but until recently, the smallest packs I had were 4000s. So I'm actually Matthew Shalosky, Farmer Man, appreciate you, man. Thanks for that. Andy, what's going on? So yeah, the 4000s until recently were the smallest 6S packs I had. Now I've got the 3200s. It's going to be hard to see probably because of the black. Maybe I put a shine on it and you can see the dimension difference in that regard. And here they're going to be like the same. Basically. Yeah. I mean, those are right on that way. So I did the math one time, but let's do it again. So I got a little scale right here on, and we're going ounces or grams. Nope, that's pounds. G. Isaac, what's going on? Are you a new member, dude? I'm sorry if you aren't. But thanks, man. Nice, Farmer Man. So 563 grams on the 4000 and 487. 563, 487. Somebody do the math real quick. What was that, 90-ish? Tim Touton, thanks. Hey, where did I saw a guy that I hadn't seen forever, and I think he'll be surprised I know who he is. Let me scroll down a little bit. Oh goodness, Jeff Nichols, what's going on? Isaac, Farmer Man's running the 3200 in his E-flite A10. Yeah, I can't wait to actually try the 3200 in the A10 as well. Yeah, some of you guys have some 3000 size 6S, which are going to be good for you, but I still think you probably are going to want to stiffen up that nose gear. And if you don't, be ready. Take off flaps, crazy up, you know what I mean? Crazy up at neutral. Jeff Nichols is bailing. Let's see, where'd he go? All right, oh shoot. And I could be wrong. Where'd he go? Enrique! Pop back in so I can see your name again, because I've lost you. Eddie K in the house. Yeah, Enrique, if he's the guy I think he is, he used to make a lot of videos. He may still be making a bunch of videos. That looks like him. From Panama. Enrique, I think you may be the guy I'm thinking of. He would fly kind of with some buddies sometimes at what seemed like a park, a big open park in a neighborhood, and he's always seemed to be flying like the cool new stuff, you know what I mean? So, are you still making videos, Enrique? If this is you, in fact. They were fun. I think they would take up drones and do some chase and things like that sometimes too. 76 grams is the difference, 2.6 ounces. So yeah, when I'm saying almost 3, I'm in the ballpark. Joseph Youngblood, it is dope. Yeah, George Watts, my first flight's on the F-35. I only flew it 4 times, and I got rid of it because I ran out of room. I was at a show, sold it to a guy, and I had only flown 5,000s, and I wished that I wanted to do 4,000s in lighter packs, because my whole idea with the F-35 was to make it a miniature F-22. So I wanted it to be nice and light. I wanted to be able to thrust it around nose high, and then dial in. Planes I know, jets I know I want to fly slow and dirty and nasty. I always try to put a gyro in. Enrique says it's not him. Sorry, that was too bad, but good to have you here, man. I thought you were him. It's okay. I could be completely wrong on the name, but it had an E in it, so, you know, 1 out of 26 ain't bad, I suppose. But glad to have you, man. Glad to have you. And some of you guys might know who I'm talking about, actually, after that description, but... Craig Beaven. Yeah, CG back on the F-35s. And I only had 4 flights on it. So, I'm going to let you guys tell me. I have got a lot in the queue. I always do. Nice, Enrique. Listen, I'm going to give you a wrench if you... Oops. It's moving, guy. Come on. Sometimes it moves too fast. Let me give you a moderator wrench, Enrique. And if you want to drop a link to your club or your Facebook page you're talking about, go ahead. And also, I mean, feel free to try to join RC Pilots Lounge, and then when I get a chance, I'll let you in. Lipos and Francis, come on now, you're showing your colors, bro. Wild Bill spies a Gia. Yeah, guys get mad when I talk about cars, but they'll slowly get used to it. The idea of starting another channel to do surface is just, it's a great idea, but it's not a very feasible one. And if I'm already talking to people in high places about surface, oh man. The idea of starting at 0 right now is just hard to fathom. Yep, big old T-33 going to Winnemac tomorrow. Bobby's going to be shaking down his F-16 and his T-33. Probably hadn't flown yet. Man, I'm gonna have to get some more batteries and SD cards for Jet Jam because I'm gonna film like crazy. Spencer Keith in the house, $9.99. Go triple time. Thanks for that. Guys have been laying floor all day. I got more than half done. So I can't remember everything that's in the queue, but I'm gonna give you guys a few options. Farley. Yeah, Shadow Ops. I just can't even think. I just have to get over the fact that the Surface stuff is not going to get the same kind of numbers my airplane stuff does. My airplane stuff gets good numbers because half the time it's new. And you guys like me. You really like me. I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, that's the thing, though. I mean, then what? It's a crawler channel or a basher channel. I don't know. Thanks for a ball. Yeah, some of you guys keep showing up, and that's great. Chuck G in the house. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. Chuck G's one of my Surface bros, crossover buddies. You know, Kevin Talbot did an airplane video today. It's really nice to kind of see him, not in a mean way, but it's interesting. It was interesting to see him not quite in his element. Like, I'm not quite in my element with Surface, but I think I've gone pretty deep, pretty quick. That's what she said. That's usually how things roll. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, so I'm going to end up making another cup of coffee, by the way. Enrique just dropped the link to his Facebook page group. Check it out if you want to see what's going on in Panama. I have a maiden flight on the Motion T-33. I got some flights on the Freewing F-15. I have crawler videos I got to get through on the Red Cat, on stock tires, a blue one, and then on Super Squish, orange one I filmed today. When I got done with the floor, I sent the family to the root beer stand to grab dinner because we worked really late. Usually the kids, I love them, but when I'm trying to fix the house, I kind of, they want to help, but they're not helping. And when you don't listen also, it's really not helpful. And so usually I run everybody out. But today I was like, you know what, just chill. And I had everybody helping. And it was awesome. And it was really nice having my wife like stand on stuff so I could cut it. Usually it's always, you know, it's just me. And it was cool to have her like feed me flooring so I could just keep on rocking. Yeah, good times. So when I sent them to the root beer stand, I crawled for an hour on my wood and rock pile over here. And that doesn't sound very glamorous, but when the shots are from down low and on my new GoPro, where is it? I think it's upstairs. Anyway, my new GoPro, I got like a crazy cool tripod with it that's all bendy, and so you can make it work on a wood pile. Where'd I put it? I lose it already. I'm such a mess. So yeah, so you guys get to tell me, maiden on the T-33. I actually have a video. It's not very, it was actually turning out to be really good on the Hobby King Spitfire, but the stupid canopy blew off. And so I actually greased it in, you know what I mean, twice. Well, I did a touch and go and realized I didn't have the canopy, and then I was so dejected, I went around and landed without much fanfare. I didn't really talk about it a lot, but the video, I mean, the thing flies amazing if you get the cockpit to stay on. So I've got the Hobby King Spitfire, the Freewing T-33, Freewing F-15, some crawler videos. I've got a clicking differential on a 6S Creighton, but I ran it pretty good and hard, sent it pretty hard, and then I'm going to do the fix, the repair too. I think that's what my angle is on Surface, because there's a bunch of running videos. I think I need to do something to bring a little more value to the table. So if you guys like that stuff, make sure you are vocal in the comment sections to those videos. If you could care less, then I just don't expect to see you over there, and your silence will speak volumes. So that's cool too. Yeah, I tell you, my little one, my 3-year-old, she is, she's a helper. She really is, man. And she loves tools. They just, you know how it is, guys. They just think they love their dads. Even if dad's a high-strung, kind of too busy dude sometimes. All right, so let's pump the brakes and answer this question. Ernesto Guerra. Hey, Ryan, on the MiG-29, did you need the up trim on the elevator because of runway length, or does it just really need the up trim? My club has a long runway, 650 feet, just trying to get your opinion. So here, yeah, the field is short at my place, and it's geotech, so it's bumpy. The spring is very easy to compress, even I think on 3200 packs, light packs all the way back. It's just really easy to compress. So if you're hitting bumps like I do on my field more than a pavement field, your nose is going to dig in, and then it's going to kind of stay that way, which will upset your angle of attack, and it's kind of a trick to rotate. So I had a lot of up trim, as you saw, and takeoff flaps, and it was also a very windy day, and I was flying 4000s, and a couple of those flights were my first flights where the battery wasn't all the way back. So I think on your runway, if you have light batteries in there, you won't need as much up trim, but I still think it's a good idea to have close to that much and some takeoff flaps. I really do. You know, people saw me do the same thing on the F-18, and then F-18s take off with flaps. You know, hindsight's 2020, comment section's 2020. Like, once you do these shakedowns and you show your vulnerabilities, everybody, you know, chimes in and educates the community, which is cool. So after my first flights on the F-18, I just started using takeoff flaps. It maybe increased my, you know, neutral elevator. So I hope I answered your question, but I think you still need to consider using a good deal of up trim. So something reminded me of a question. Ask Ryan time. Let's see. John Noon's in the house. I'm missing something, but if I miss you, bring it back around, okay? If George says if the HSD T-33 flies as good as the F-16 12S, it is one great flying machine, so much better than the smaller jets. Dude, the T-33 reminds you of anybody who's flown the Carbon Z stuff. It's always just like, yeah, you know, yeah, this is big. I felt that in big and just awesome. Not too light, but kind of just right on the wing loading. I actually probably said it in the video where we were doing the Super Viper in Texas. It was the turbine version. And it felt like a big old predictable Carbon Z kind of experience. And the T-33 and the Super Viper feel more like that to me than the F-16. The F-16 is awesome, but it's an F-16. There's a little bit more ahead of it you need to be. I guess what I mean to say is things like the T-33 and the Super Viper seem really honest and obvious in their character and the language they speak to us, where if you're not listening close with your eyes on an F-16, you can get in trouble. You know what I mean? That reminded me of another question I thought that you guys would like to hear the answer to in the comments. Yeah. Raven Rock Machine in the house, what's up? He's the happiest guy in RC right now that he didn't have to buy somebody a bird. Arma. Yeah, man. Awake, depending on what your first plane was, the Carbon ZT-28 could be a trainer. My question is for Isaac, do the FMS and Aeros planes lean more to, I assume, Futaba or Spektrum? Radio is 100% preference, you guys. It doesn't matter. The reason I fly Futaba a lot of times on stuff that's not Horizon products is because I just have loads of those receivers and it's super easy. I don't even have to bind it. I just like zero out a channel. The receiver already knows my radio, and it's just really easy for me to go. If I were a better man, I would know how to program AS3X into a Spektrum receiver, and if I had the time, I'd watch Air Marshal's videos on that to learn how. I would do that. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whatever you're familiar with. Whatever your favorite radio is the best choice for those planes, Isaac. And I would say also, the radio discussion happens a lot. And poor Dead Horse, I feel bad for it. You know, just keeps getting beat. But, oh my goodness. If you like the offerings coming out of Horizon Hobby, you could have a favorite radio. I don't know. I think it makes sense. For me, I have a Spektrum radio so I can fully take advantage of what they're offering, keep up with the innovation in the hobby, what's being released, share better my experiences with more people. So, I mean, yes, you can buy every E-flite Horizon plane and put something else in it if you'd like. But it doesn't level the playing field for discussion for me. So it makes a lot of sense for me to advise anybody who's interested in the products coming out of Horizon to have a Spektrum radio available to take advantage of the bind and fly offerings. Even if you're not a Spektrum guy, it's just like, man, why wouldn't you? If you buy that receiver standalone, it's $80-90, right? And then you got to program it. They come in the thing ready to rock. Follow the book. And then if you just can't stand it, I guess you could have another radio too. Complete honesty, the only reason I have the Futaba radio is because I was able to do a magazine write-up on the Futaba a few years back from Model Aviation. So it was a project, you know, a job where I got the radio, had to learn it, write it up, and I ended up liking it, you know what I mean? And during that time that I've had my Futaba radio, I've gone from a DX6 to, DX6i, to a DX6, to a DX8, to a DX9. So I love my Spektrum stuff. The Futaba was my first 8-channel radio, so it came in really handy when I was doing stuff like T-45 and aircraft that needed more channels than my 6, obviously, had. So the radios that I know guys talk about, but I haven't really ever seen one or heard of too much, you know, I think those are really geared towards guys who want to do a lot of programming or need to. If you're maybe doing drone work or those kinds of things. I am like Mike Kennedy, where I really find a great use for both my Futaba and Spektrum. Mike Kennedy in the house. I'm drinking some Peet's coffee right now. This dude keeps sending me Peet's. I love it, man. I get a surprise package from Amazon all the time, and it's like more Peet's. My wife likes the Peet's Keurig stuff so much that she started buying the Peet's to grind in our regular coffee maker. So, thank you, Mike Kennedy. Hey, I crawled the Red Cat today a bunch on those squishy tires. It was awesome. Oh, guys, I love this thing. We got 132 folks in here. You know, what's funny too is I don't make a thumbnail or promote this thing. It just goes down. And that's the thing about consistency, right? So we don't have to worry about it. 9 o'clock Saturday night, if you haven't heard from me, it's going down. Something would have to happen crazy for it not to go down. Farmer Man, what do you want folks to do, man? Don't get hurt over it. Don't get hurt. It's cool. Farmer Man's night flying. He says he's invisible. We'll turn the lights on then. George has a DX8 for buying and flies. Hey folks, Channel 5 says Craft King in here somewhere. I see someone shout him out. Arizona Desert Jets. Yeah, Marshall's AS3X stuff, it raises the bar. I think the Spectrum guys are like, oh my gosh, we gotta up it. Oh, Wreck-'em Roy, is that out already? I didn't get my magazine. Yeah, magazine, it reminds me, the June issue of Model Aviation is out. I did a collaborative, I hope it's good, Roy. I did a collaborative article with Jay Smith, the editor of Model Aviation. He was in a bind, and he reached out to me to ask me if I could do an article on the P-51 because he wasn't able to. At the time, things were crazy in the world with germs, even more so. So he couldn't get out, couldn't really facilitate getting a cameraman and things like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I used to do articles for Model Aviation and Park Pilot all the time. And then I was also at Motion at the same time. So Pellegrino, I'd say leave it alone. I mean, you can do flapper-ons on the E-flite F-16, but if you're worried about warranty at all, and again, leveling the playing field of discussion, if it's a new jet to you and you go for the flapper-on deal, I mean, if I'm a customer service guy and someone does that, they're kind of on their own. Unfortunately, I don't think it needs it. It seems like there's so much good content out there on the E-flite F-16 from a lot of folks. We did videos on it as well on this channel, and so many guys have. And it looks like, for me, I like the 4000s in it, I think as far back as I could get them. When you're nose heavy on an F-16, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But when they're right, and they're cool. And that's my favorite F-16. The big one's killer, but like chillin', not complete like pucker factor. Yeah, that E-flite one is sick. Senior advisor wants to see the T-33 maiden flight. All right, bro. Ryan, it's not bad. Sounds like me talking. So reading the articles, like listening to me talk. That's cool. That's cool. So another thing I want to take with me to, yeah, the E-flite F-16 is so light. Flapper-ons aren't needed unless you just like to do that kind of thing. 4500s in the E-flite F-16, yeah, it's doable. We did 5000s as well, but I think the 4000s are the sweet spot. I'm hoping I get a night flight tomorrow. Yeah, 3300. Yeah, I bet it is. So now that I have a couple 3200s, see, I tell you, I did the E-flite F-16. It was Mike Kennedy sponsored that project. So after we did the videos, you should check it out because me and Captain Mike signed it and stuff. Then we sent it back to him. So I kind of have always still wanted an E-flite F-16 sitting around. so I could just grab it. Yeah. Yeah. So, cool. Viper with 4S and rudder. Who will be doing it? Yeah, 4,000 in the Freewing Arctic. Yep. I don't remember what I used in those. How did you get the HSD F16 afterburner to go off when not throttled up? Man, I think a lot of experimentation. I would definitely try to find an answer from the HSD jet owners like group on Facebook, because I think somebody could probably do you better than I can on that. I get them together and kind of take what I get. I'm not sure it might even work good for like it was exactly supposed to for me. And sometimes we're flying stuff that's pre-production too, so it's nothing I'm gonna call out if we've got one of the first ones, or it's a pre-production, and you know, Andy flew it too, right, to shake it down and those kinds of things. Let's see. T-33. That's easy. That's an easy one. I think I only filmed it one time. I picked up 4 new subs looking for 21 more guys. And then your life will be complete, right? 21 more guys and dude's bucket list is done. Cash it. It's over. You could give up. You'll be done. I'm just playing with you. Let's see. Who said something about Traxxas? Raymond Molina, thanks, man. Yeah, I had, that was the first day on the X-Max. So I am a little bit rougher with it now, actually. But my video, so my first outing with the GoPro, I had the settings all goofy. If you go to the trucks, the RC Trucks playlist, there's a 4S Creighton video on it that you can watch it. It's only on the playlist. I didn't let it go public because my settings I just goofed. But it's really too bad because I was full sending that Creighton on my launch ramp. Didn't break a thing. Couldn't believe it. I finally learned how to, land them pretty good. And also, I started bashing in the winter, so everything was brittle. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So there's more to come on the Traxxas. I'm going to do that. I'm going to probably have to make a dedicated video on those upgrades going on because there's no time to pop in a stream and do it. I would like to do the wrenching on a stream, to be honest with you, so I don't have to edit a upgrade video. Just like do it and hang out. But there's so many streams, so it's hard to find time to do it. The only time I can find to squeeze in extra ones is my kids are awake, and so that's why I might do an update, or like when the New Horizon stuff comes. You guys have seen me do a show on Thursdays. And keep them short. But you captains, did you enjoy the live stream last Thursday? That was cool. Once a month we'll be doing that for the captains, the members only live stream. I may try to get a producer next time to make it a little bit easier. That way we can have somebody like Air Marshal, who's not quite a captain, but he can be peeping. He can be in there with us hanging out. Yeah, Chuck G. Oh, man, that's the thing that makes me want to consider starting another channel more than anything, is wrenching on these trucks. Man, I really don't want to sit and there's a bunch of airplane video builds sitting in the queue that I'm not getting through. If I film fixing trucks, I'm not sure if I'll ever get them out. Put nav lights in your Freewing A10. Looks sweet. Nice. Dave's RC in the house, man. Did you just get here, bro? No, you were here earlier. Fair Marshal. I like it. Air Marshal says, let's do it. Yeah, man, okay. Dave, you a captain, aren't you? You weren't in the... I don't think he was in the captain's quarters. So, I know... All right. I'm not going to go too in-depth with this because I want to talk to Air Marshal and really develop a good plan of attack. But, so, Fly High Ireland, UK, the orange truck is a Red Cat crawler, and it's bad to the bone. And then... yeah, Josh. But put the like running videos, the good videos on the channel. But just start like a live stream channel for trucks. I don't even know, guys. Can you stream right away when you start a channel? I don't know. I suppose you can, right? You sure we can't get someone else? Hey, Ryan. Dennis. So, asking about the black car. And there will be more on this in the future. Dave's just cringing because I just touched it with my fingers. Dude, this is a Tamiya Karmann Ghia that Dave Air Marshal really took the lead on this project and got me all dialed in with upgrades and stuff. And he built it. So there's videos coming on the channel. We're trying to figure out how to do a collab on it. Dave, I only rolled it over once. Yeah, I won't stream on my mobile anyway. But yeah, this comes as a clear body. So we got drift tires on it. We got oil damper shocks. Like I said, different tires. We've got the ESC receiver combo from Spectrum. So it's all smarted up. He did a killer job. We locked the diff. So the idea, I'm trying to make it a drift car. So figuring that out, how to do more than just donuts. And so once I get that figured out and take it out, I'm going to do some runs on it and film it. It really deserves to have a light on it. But I mean, look at this paint job. I mean, is that the sickest or what? Isn't that the neatest? So those aren't stickers. Those were like masks inside. YouTube play button. Like, I'm going to have fun making videos of this. I mean, he totally put his foot in it. And so anybody familiar with this stuff, SoCal, what's going on? I ran the crap out of it yesterday. So we put an upgraded motor in it, and I killed it. I killed that motor on my first run. And so I put the stock motor back in it, but I'll take the lid off in a second. Paul Hatcher, Karmann Ghia, poor man's Porsche. It looks awesome. It rides awesome now that it's got oil damper shocks. These things come with bushings instead of bearings. We completely, and it was all at his advice because I've never built one of these kit cars. I'm new to Surface. I've been doing ready to runs. So Air Marshal, like, mad props on this project. We thought it was cool to make it all Spectrum, and smart, since that was the gear we were using inside. And kind of as a thank you to Horizon and Directly for seeing the value in our communities and working with us. So let me peel this off. I want to tell you this. So if you look at the picture of this vehicle, it's gonna have like the box, right? The Tamiya box. It's gonna have body posts coming through the top and the back that's supposed to have pins in it, right? We were like, I didn't want that. Yeah, paint inside. That's the best way to do it. Holy smokes, dude. So we got some Velcro in there. Air Marshal did I mean, this is like a factory paint job, dude. It looks amazing. He did killer on the decals, and he turned it around like super fast. I thought he was going to have this for months. I mean, it was like a week and a half, dude. Like, if you're not sub to Air Marshal's channel, like, check him out. He's my boy, dude. He's one of my boys, man. We're like the same age, except he's gray, and we're both Navy dudes. I feel bad it's dusty. I drove it, man, hard yesterday. So he made some 3D printed bits to go where the posts go, and so I'm able to stick the body on. And then, like I said, we got the oiled dampered shocks, which are super cush, actually. And, I mean, dude, it's an old vintage Tamiya kit. There's a little bit of, you know, the tolerances are loose, but it's a great truck. I got a 2S 5000 smart battery in there. I bought a high-tech servo. Everything's from Horizon. And if you guys are into this or into checking it out, you got to check out Air Marshal's channel, because all the links are going to be his. He's going to have them all for this car, the upgrades, the battery, the DX5C, the motor. Air Marshal, tell Rabbit what motor it was. It was one of those Reedy motors from Team Associated. And so I blew it yesterday, and then I talked to Dave a little bit, and he sent the car with the instructions and all. So it was easy for me to dig in and figure out how to get the motor out and put a new one in. Use the jig on the pinion and all that cool stuff. So he did a bang-up job. This is a 1/10 scale, but it's like super small compared to, you know, things like the Creighton. Lipo, David Martin Graf. This is a Lipo 2S 5000. Yeah, hard case. Fits in there actually perfect. It looks like it was made for it. I would say the book is correct. Boy, it's hard to say your name. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, the book rates I think are good on the F-16. From what I remember. I haven't been... It's been a while since I did those. Yeah, 2S Lipo. Yeah, we went for black. It made sense because we knew we were going to go for this, you know, going smart. This is the MO6 chassis, so it's got this little, let's see, put some light on it. See this little, that's like the chassis extender, I think. That's what makes it the long, you know, wheelbase. Yeah, Jeff in Lower Alabama. Yeah, he's got a bunch of videos. I think he documented the process. These hard tires are excellent. They're actually Tamiya tires too. They're like drift tires or something. So the stock tires look more classic. But yeah, dude, this was a neat collaboration. And I can't wait to get it out. John T, what's going on, dude? Hey, also on surface side, guys, my Jeep is at least in the country. It's in customs in Chicago. The Willys Jeep, the MB Scaler from Rock Hobby FMS. John T, do you know who's going to be selling that? You know what? The chassis is... There's some metal bits, but it's basically plastic. RC Air Marshal can answer that better. But he locked the diff with epoxy. This thing will break loose, dude. Like crazy. So cool, so cool. And you just got to put the lid back on it because it looks so good. So yeah, him and Amy made these like vinyl stencils. Did I get it? Yeah. Made these vinyl stencils, these masks, and then all these decals, all these logos are 100% under the plastic. So when I landed on my roof, I was actually skidding and I hit a crack in the road and it went on its side and just barely screwed me up a little bit. We knew it was going to happen, guys. But yeah, oh my gosh, it looks like a decal, y'all. And it's like not a decal. That's like in under the plastic in the body. They planned it out. Crazy. Look at that YouTube button. Sick. Sick. Super fun, man. He did good. He said next time, send 2. I don't know what to have. I need to save my money, but I really enjoyed this. Now, this is just a vintage tool-around car. We upgraded it. It's not like a speed demon, but it doesn't need to be, but it's got bearings and all that stuff. But it makes me want to get a legit drift car and see what makes it a drift car. Like, I've got the steering jacked, the travel as much as possible. But I haven't quite... That was a rock fell out. I haven't quite got it figured out. Yeah, Air Marshal killed it. Awesome job. Awesome job. There are not lights, but I think there easily could be. Oh, yeah, man. Dave's RC, Air Marshal was a car dude, like raced them years ago. You know what? I could have headlights on my crawler too, and I don't. I should. X-Max needs them also. I'm actually super pumped about that Jeep. Rick James, yeah, dude, the T33 is amazing. Furball, you guys send me a link to a drift gyro. I'll consider it. Dana's RC. Hey, Ryan, what do you think about kids here under 16 years old? They need to move to a younger agenda. Are you baiting me because you're young too? Listen, YouTube, it's all about 14. So, with all due respect, anyone under 14 can catch up with us in a couple years or something. Otherwise, I don't care. You know what I mean? Oh, goodness, guys. Having a great time. So what is up? LJ Hobby Life. You have lights on most of your on-road cars? Cool. Wait a minute. Who said the camber? Where is it? Yeah, Eddie K. We heard those things and even hot glue. But Dave was like, man, if you don't care, let's just epoxy it. I was like, cool, whatever. You're doing the work, you pick it. Cool, Air Marshal. Someone that said something about what to do now, race them off ramps. Nah, this is gonna be just a road car. Trying to drift it, do some cool slides and stuff like that. Probably experiment with a little bit different wheels. I'm thinking I need grippy tires on the front actually, because when I turn them to try to slide, it'll continue to go straight. So I kind of want to see what like a legit made to drift car looks like and what they're doing a little bit. Dave's RC, I don't know if I had a chance to thank you yet, but thanks for that tremendously generous super chat. You're nuts. It's so cool how it goes around, guys. Like, it was cool to be in your show, and I was thinking about throwing in a product for your giveaway, and I was like, you know what? Cashish. Josh won. Somebody gets $100 cash via PayPal. They do whatever they want with it, as long as they go click through Pilot Ryan Media when they spend it. Oh, goodness, guys. Good time. So what are we talking about now? I think the chat has camber for drift is in on the front. Turn your wheel all the way to lock, then camber it so it's flat on the ground. Then go the other way and change the camber on that wheel to make flat contact. Thank you, Matthew Shalowski. So full turn travel, adjust the camber for flat on the wheels. That's a tremendous tip. Gives you max wheel contact to steering need 100% when you're sliding. So, is there any credence to me thinking that grippier tires on the front would help? Or is it just get the tires flat for the contact? Yeah, Air Marshal. I'm going to try it, bro. I got to try it. YouTube it, Ryan, says Hatcher. What's up, Massis? Boxing belts. What is it? Beats Bears Battlestar Galactica. Raymond Molina finally got the Husky to fly good, thanks to you. Went with the heavier battery. Awesome. Team Associated, the Dragster, Mike Keller. Yeah, I have seen it. I think they're all everything's out of stock, man. Yeah, it looks awesome, actually. Yeah, Victor. That's crazy. Is it in? I don't want to really get going on it, but is it in more places now than it was? I don't want to get going on it, guys, because man, everybody has something to say. You know, I'm just gonna say it's sad all around, no matter how you slice it, no matter what. It's sad all around. Massis Boxing Belts. We flew the FlexJet on this channel. If you look at the RC Jetworks playlist on this channel, you can see us flying that thing. And you can figure out what our thoughts are on that jet right there. Now, we were flying on the Aura that comes with it. It was a RC. It was Andy's. It was set up. Andy's set up. RC Jetworks FlexJet, and we had a great time with it. So yeah. Yeah, Dana's RC. I got you. I agree. You know, listen, when you're the kid and you say those things or whatever, what's supposed to happen is an older person is supposed to say, pay your dues. And then you get mad because you're like, well, you deserve it. You're entitled. You're little. You're young. We were all young and thought we knew everything once too. Wild Bill, 100%. And everywhere else. Yeah, everybody has something to say. I don't want to get started on it, man. There are times where there is nothing you can say. Nothing is going to... Anything you say will not help. Yeah. Pray. Pray, man. Don't be an ass. That, I mean, really, don't be. And that stupid cop, that was too much. That was too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. You happy now? You know what I mean? What? Way too much. I love the Red Cat Crawler. And I love this country. And I wish folks would act better. We need each other. I'm sorry. I'm going to go there for a minute. Man, there isn't a soul out there who should disagree with that. Was awful what happened to that man. End it there. End it there. The rest of it, you may be right. But man, it just doesn't matter. Sometimes you don't have to be right. Sometimes you don't have to say so. Sometimes it's very insulting to be right or have to be right or have something to say. It's just, shut up. Just, it sucks. That's, I mean, a fire will burn out if you let it alone. You just keep throwing stuff on it. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Just sometimes you have to just feel bad about the what and why, not the how. Anyway, I'm done with that. Let's quit it. I'm not too bossy about what goes on in the chat, you know what I mean? I'm not worried about staying on topic. Let's keep this about me right now. No, we're not doing that. I'm not doing that. But let's save it, man. Let's save that. Pointing fingers doesn't help. Pointing fingers, generalizing groups of people, all that stuff. None of it helps. The conversation is shut down before it could ever begin when you point fingers. Don't get me. Don't get me going. My heart aches for the country. Everybody in it. We need each other, not pointing fingers. Things are rough. Things suck. People are frustrated, man. And it's they thrive on division. Don't give it to them. For real. All right. I'll get mad, dude. Paul, I mean, I agree, but I don't need to post about it. You know what I mean? I don't need to post about it. I don't need to. It's not helping. It doesn't help. Doesn't help. It's awful, regardless. Well, that's good. Top Guns on TV, says David Snyder. Yep. And I just refuse to generalize, you know. So, fast cars. Gooniac, what's going on? That's great. I do, Camaro. Yeah. Yeah, the Gen 8's cool, Furball. The Arrows Viper is cool, Wild Bill. 2 cups of booze in, says Shalosky. Shadow Ops, great question. Yeah, when do we get sports back? Is baseball going on and stuff? Am I going to do any other upgrades on the Gen 8 besides tires? I might do lights. The thing crawls so good, I don't think I need to add the heavy brass things to it. The one thing I probably will do once it fails, the servo. If the servo dies, you know, the steering servo dies on this thing, I will definitely upgrade the servo. Probably not just replace it. Anybody have any Freewing F18 hints on setup? Asks Spencer Keith. I tell you, one guy who's got some setup tips I really loved is one of RC Air Marshal's first videos, man. He kind of really put in perspective a potential issue with the geometry on the linkage of the elevator to servo operation. Man, I just sounded smart for a second. Did you hear that? There was like no uhs or in it. That was cool. No spect. What a bummer. Air Marshal says it's a good time to be a NASCAR fan. Racing had been back for a couple weeks now. Great to see Strange Without Fans, but it's live and awesome. You know what, man? I love watching the classic cars race. When like the old school cars, some of the Euro stuff, and then I saw some short course stuff racing and jumping. Man, they're so cush on suspension that dude, one wheel in the turn is like up, floating. You know what I'm saying? Isaac, appreciate you. I think that Gen 8 has a 25 gram servo that will crush a finger. Yeah, I'm like blown away because you guys will see if you watch it. Again, I've got a stock running video on the Gen 8 stock tires, and then this cushy tires that I filmed today. But I'm crawling on a wood pile and a kind of a pile of rocks and some bricks and stuff, and sometimes I get stuck in there. That truck is so powerful, and the servo, I mean, it'll like move logs over, and then the power of the motor will like roll them over. Some the logs on the pile. I had the wood pile perfect, but the kids have been screwing with it. And then when we do we got a little fire pit, so we'll do s'mores and stuff sometimes. The kids actually were mad. We didn't do s'mores or like hot dogs tonight on the fire. Because your mom didn't go to the store. She helped me on the floor today. You got to go to the root beer stand. Sorry. Like, really, the kids are complaining about getting like what do they call it? Root beer float. Don't complain about a root beer float and burgers and fries. You kidding me? You could be eating mama's broccoli rice stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yep. John Graham in the house, Joe Pellegrino. For real, dude. That's the beauty of YouTube and social media is you can now also it's like putting on blinders, but man, at a point you know what you're gonna hear. And I'm not trying to go there. My biggest frustration with many things that the news or media will try to tell us is none of it's credible. It doesn't make sense that one channel is gonna. I mean, it's just the same world. Are we in the same world? One channel says this, one channel says that. That's the problem with politics. Smart people get sick of it and disillusioned and quit listening. Because I swear it's made to divide. Anyway. Yeah, David. I really think that's the business they're in. Because honestly, I think people are better than that. And than they make it out to be. Mass generalizations, all that stuff, it's not helping at all. $1, farmer man. That's like a dime each letter of your name. That's cool, man. Appreciate that. I'm just teasing you. Farmer man wants to be seen, y'all. He just super chatted $1. Give him some love. Give him some love, y'all. Mike Keller, thanks for asking. You absolutely can drop a link as long as it's like not some crazy news thing, please. But I trust you to behave and not drop something crazy. I mean, all you guys have wrenches for the most part. And Mike Kelly, you're one of my captains, G. So go for it, my friend. It is crazy, and sometimes it's hard not to talk about this stuff, guys, but man, I really don't want to. Tim Toutant, you made in the AL37. Awesome. Thanks, Raven Rock. And then YouTube gets 30%. That's cool. M Shag in the house. What day in South Australia? No fun, he says. Absolutely. We got Farmer Man's number. Y'all check out Farmer Man. He's a good kid. He's trying. Check him out. Tell him about himself in the comments. If you want to be a YouTuber, you got to get the skin thicker too. Because it'll come. Dana's RC, I think I must be missing something. Yeah, Spencer Keith. So yeah, Spencer, I think earlier I was asking about yeah, any new planes come down the pipeline? Honestly, of course there are. Yikes. Well, wash your hands then. Always new planes coming. But I've got nothing. I've got nothing right now. So probably will soon. Jeremy Diamond, the Ultra Micro behind the crawler. Yeah, man, the Turbo Timber, that thing is dope. I'm totally not going to take it out, though, right now. Check out our videos on it, though. It's sick. And if you like it, the links are in the description. Yeah, we're having a good time with Farmer Man right now. I hope he knows it. Yeah, Love RC, you know, I don't know. I mean, you guys watch. I know you did, Farmer Man. I'm just playing with you. So, you know, I don't know when they're gonna. I think they're gonna start doing their show at a different time. But I was watching the Horizon show with Brian Phillips. It was yesterday, and they, you know, you got to read between the lines. You got to listen because they will not necessarily give it away, but they really will kind of clue you in. It sounds like, from what I could gather, I was kind of in and out and on the road and things like that. Yesterday I went and picked up a bunch of material at Lowe's, which, you know, of course that place is okay to go to. Tim Toutant, I'm sorry guys, let me get back to the Horizon show conversation in a second. Don't let me forget. Full right trim, AL37, still went left. What gives? My first thing I'm going to look at is make sure my flaps and everything are like identical. Also make sure your horizontal stabs are correct. I've got my flaps mismatched a little bit on the MiG and had a lot of aileron trim to offset that. So that's the first thing I would look at, Tim, is your flaps. A lot of times servos, you know, one thing that happens too is, like, let's say you're perfect at neutral, but the minute you dump them, they're not congruent. That's the one problem I always never liked about a reverse and a standard servo. It's like, how identical can these things be? I don't know how many times I've taken a servo, especially when servos had like servo pockets instead of glued in. There's a lot of times where I would take a servo out of a servo pocket and like fold up a piece of cardboard or something stupid and try to fix it, because one tooth on the gear will be way too much. So you just gotta, like, little tiny try to work it out. But Tim, that's my thing. Anybody else has something to say about that, throw it at Tim Toutant. But that's the first thing I would look at, is making sure my flaps were dead even, neutral, whatever state you're noticing this in. I assume you didn't do your maiden flight with flaps in, but I don't know, maybe you did. How you fix that? My splits on my A4 are off like that. I don't remember. I have the A4, but I don't remember if that's in a box or not. Sometimes you got to, if it's a glue one too, sometimes see what that servo needs to make it right. And also, you have to pick, sometimes you can't get it right. So you have to pick where you want it wrong. And if you have a Spektrum radio and you dump flaps and there's a discrepancy, I would go for neutral being perfect. And then if there's a discrepancy with flaps on, make that a flight mode and trim in what you need to compensate for that flight condition. And when you're out of the flaps, you're back to normal, so you're good to go. I actually have always wanted to do a video. Oh no, Tim. I always wanted to do a video on, yeah, if you divide and conquer, if you got them wide in, sub-trim won't help you. Mixing helps. You know, if you divide and conquer, you can mix out whatever you got as a discrepancy. Wing warp, you'll just have to deal with. But in wing warp is probably why my P38 has, if I trim it for cruising and flying great, clean, and then I put the flaps in, I've got a hell of a roll. If I trim it for landing, which is one of my favorite things, it's cool until I tuck the flaps up and I want to cruise. Then I've got to roll. So that's a perfect situation to either do something mechanically or figure out how to do flight modes. It's boxed. Is there anything mechanical you can do? I mean, sometimes pulling the servo out and really like gluing it back in with one end a little bit higher or lower than the other can do some good sometimes. Honestly, I think that's something that we run into, especially once you get to really knowing these planes or feeling them well. I think you start to realize that how really off that stuff is. It doesn't present itself the same on ailerons and rudder. It's you see it in flaps and elevators because they work in unison. So that's and again, you've got a standard and a reverse servo a lot of times. I wish they would figure out how to make it a standard and a standard. Mold it different. So at least they're the same bloody servo. You know what I mean? But you've got to make sure the geometry is too. So I think it's easy for them to just do it that way. But I think you're going to have... If something's weird going on that side, then just make sure you're in the right hole and all that stuff. It sounds elementary, but make sure everything is glued tight as far as the control horns go. Make sure your hinges are kind of the same as well. Because if one hinge has a bunch of slop in it, you're going to get a different thing than not. And I can't remember the way the elevator goes on that thing. But, you know, make sure that stuff is even. Yep. George Watts says, make sure your rods are the same lengths and things like that. Yeah, I mean, mechanical, definitely. Shilowski, yeah, man. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me. There's times on flaps where it's been like that for me, and I will back off the travel on the flaps till they're closer. Like if there's a point where the servo steps and now all of a sudden they're out of whack, guess what? I limit the travel so it doesn't go to that point. 200 driver in the house. Right, Rabbit. Exactly. Josh, come on. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too that strikes me is like how remarkable it is truly that these things fly at all, right? I mean, my dad used to always say it's like stacking BBs. You know, getting something to go to bring these things home and to get them up and get them down is pretty special. You know, I explain this to folks I talk to where the airplane hobby, I mean, super macho. It's super cool. I love it. But these things are so delicate and fragile, and everything matters. Everything. You know what I mean? You ever fly in full-scale planes? Look at the throws. They are hardly noticeable unless you're paying attention. It does not take much to get something to move, do something different. So, yeah, it'll do it with these too. Stacking BBs, yeah. Yeah, man. If you're good, Matthew, on most of that flap range. See, I use a roll dial on my Futaba, and then on my Spectrum stuff, I do a slowdown. But if if they're good to a point, but then after that numerical value they go out of whack, limit the travel to not do that. Back it up, back it off. Yeah. It's just one of those things. You got a standard and a reverse. It's not perfect. I think even if you had a standard and a standard, or a reverse and a reverse, the potential for there to be discrepancy in the throw, trying to have them go in unison, is still there. Just probably not as much. Really, also, if you bypass the box and had enough channels to separate the flaps, you can mix it out as well. JT83, somebody else help me answer this one. Hey Ryan, how about servo travel for throttle on the Valiant 1300 bind and fly? Put the low position at 70 because at 100 I can't even get to half throttle before it kills. It sounds like you are in a rebind and calibrate the throttle situation. Let's see. Wait a minute. Zachary Macker. Hey, just bought an EMG store F16. Come, you're kidding me. Super cheap. Do I know anything about them? Is that $20 deal? Where they're stealing everybody's videos and using Freewing products to try to entice people to drop $20 on a $500 jet. Oh man, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah, I know something about them. They're stealing everybody's videos and using it to scam $20 off of folks. And they're gonna change they'll change the name in a week and do it again. Exactly. Air doesn't scale. So yeah, our throws are bigger. Yep. Reset the ESC. Yeah, man. Rebind, dude. Total scam. I wish there was something I could do about it, but those videos really aren't mine. Those are, yeah, reported every time, Victor says. Yeah, total scam. I mean, there's no way you're going to get. They have it on F-16. They have it on. I mean, they don't even know what they're selling. They'll mix F-16 videos with F-15s, with F-14s, F-22s. I know, Joe. They've got me. They've got me. But those are motions videos. Except for maybe one of them where I got the E-flite F-18. Like I'm holding it. Those bastards, they got my face in it. You know what I mean? What are you going to do, though? Yeah, report it every time. I mean, I clicked on it, went to the website, sent a message one time. What are they going to do? They're not going to listen. They're going to change their name. I can't believe it's showing up as ads, you know, on YouTube videos all the time. Yep, Facebook all the time. David Martin Graff, I think you've asked me this before. That's nice, Shalosky. Holy smokes. Rick James says, I like your vids. Because of you, I bought 19 planes. Wait, is this good? Yeah, it's great, man. I mean, as long as you're taking care of business at home, man, it's great. JT83, yeah, I don't know anybody that really ever is messing with throttle travel on their airplane. So now throttle cut's something that's not a bad idea to explore and to set up. But yes, I would say once you get it sorted, you shouldn't have to mess with that. Sometimes the short screws on those boxes too. It's like if you move one from one plane to the other, the cases are coming apart. You guys know where I stand on this. I like proprietary equipment. I want to use Spectrum receivers on my Spectrum radio, and Futaba receivers on my Futaba radio. Richard says, "Good morning from Moscow. No collusion here. How are you?" As long as the kids have shoes, you're good. I bought 3 from his vids. You're killing me, Smalls. Yeah, click the links, y'all. Keep it up. You guys are doing a great job, man. I mean, this little channel here is behind some really big dogs out there. And once I get back on my feet, I think this channel could do really well. I mean, it's grooving, it's moving, it's crazy. And I'm up for the challenge, you know. I did this somewhere else before. So yeah, we'll get this one up. We're looking at 12K pretty soon, I think. Why is my wing badge bigger than others? What do you mean, with the prop on it? Because you've been a member longer. That's all. That's what she said. So hey, Polly Ryan's live. Cool. Let's see. We got any other comments I wanted to talk about? Yeah. So one guy said, I'll just read it. Rabbit. Genetics. Let's see. All right. Let me find this comment. This was kind of a neat one. 5 million subs. I mean, I'd be glad. Yeah, I'm just 88,000 away. Hook me up. Thanks for all of the great videos. After watching quite a few of them, I have heard a phrase quite a few times that I am not familiar with. I've been flying full-scale and model aircraft for over 55 years and have never before heard anyone say that an airplane is settling in. That's in quotes. I am sure it is something that is local to your area of the country, and I'm not putting you or the phrase down in any way. Just wanted a definition of exactly what it means. Thanks again. First of all, textbook on how to make a nice comment. and ask a question without sounding like an ass. Perfect. Not criticism, just great question. And I'm going to answer it here, and then later on I'm going to type a concise answer back to this gentleman. You guys have heard it too. I talk about, I'll say, oh, it settles in nice or whatever. What I mean, in my experience, is model flying. Jeff West, when you join the channel, you get those badges. Those are like, you know, if you've seen the join button down at the bottom of the videos, right there by my Teespring store. Oh. You know, you join the channel and there's a couple different options. So anyway, settling in. Exactly, Matthew Shalosky. I like your style, man. You're kind of like new to the channel, but you're like quick, dude. Yeah, I think you get me. Like, you get me. So many of you do, and that's why this is cool. So for me, a model flyer, yeah, I took some full-scale lessons and stuff, but I've been flying loads of models. I don't even know how many foamies I've had up in the air. Settling in is me talking about its approach. How is it fly when it's out of the power, when I'm on my glide path, or, you know, low power, you know, sink, descent? How does it do? If it settles in nice, what I mean by that is it's grooving pretty good. My workload is minimal. It's predictable. It looks nice. Settling in. It settles in nice. And I guess what I mean is settles into the landing configuration. Settles into a glide path. Settles into, you know, eventually the ground to land. So things that don't settle in well take some work or some mixing to iron out. So yeah, settling in is just kind of speaking to, in a generic way, just the airframe's tendency to glide well, or how well that plane is kind of set up out of the box, so to say. Do I need down mix? Is it settling in nice? I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what it is. I mean, a lot of times my approaches start with a chop. I mean, base leg, depends on the wind, but you know, base leg, halfway through the base leg, I'm out of the power, establish the glide, and you hear me say port back in or come into idle throttle. Every now and then, if I was too high, and it's all about speed management, by the way. It's what the plane looks like. It's how it looks. Is it doing what it's supposed to do? If you have to make throttle inputs to achieve it, yes, cool, do it. Sometimes I've been way too high on my approach, so because of that, I've got a steeper angle of descent, and I'm managing my speed well without throttle. I don't want to dead stick birds, but sometimes I need to because I'll overfly. If you're doing a maiden flight in front of a camera on something big and scary, man, I dead stick that F-16, the big one, I think. So I might have blipped it at the end a little bit, but so whatever it needs, right, is what you do, is what you give it, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about how it settles in, or I say, boy, that settles in nice. So when I do get out of the power to initiate my descent, see how it behaves. So when I do things, I'm doing it and then waiting for cues. This is nothing textbook or analytical it's just observations on how my head works. So I'll chop it and see how it establishes itself. Sometimes something's going to drop out really quick. Okay, feed in the power. Sometimes something, wow, it's really establishing a nice glide without much to do. And that's always a real load off. And still, just because you know you need to, you are going to lose speed. So what happens is that angle of descent will increase if you don't pour in the power a little bit. So I'm always talking about pouring in the power. It's only to maintain that same angle. Because if I start from a chop the throttle, it's going to eventually steepen that angle. And then I'm too slow at the end and I'm bouncing it around, which I do also sometimes. You know. Yeah, Richard, that will be cool. And hopefully we can do that. If my plane requires downstick on landing, then my plane isn't set up right for me. I do not like, it feels counterintuitive to me. Now, I can see a plane and know it needs that, but as soon as I get it down, I'm gonna figure it out and mix it out or set it up where that's not the case. I want to hold the stick off. I want the elevator in my gut, even though it's a radio. That's how I feel. That's how I think. I want the stick in my gut. I want to hold it off, hold it off, hold it off, hold it off. Just like the flight lessons I had. Hold it off, hold it off, hold it off. Because if not, it's super counterintuitive to me to have to put downstick in for landing. Or you're on approach and you've got downstick. So for your flare, instead of pulling back on the stick, you relax the down pressure, which is in essence backstick, but that's just the wrong side of the curve for me. Yeah, up on landing is how you keep from fixing landing gear. You know what I mean? You level off, you know, if you're lucky you level off and bleed speed and touchdown. I mean, it depends on the plane, but usually always you're holding it off. If you're not, you might be going too fast when you land and you're going to be up again. So the whole idea is to transition and bleed your speed off so you don't have enough airspeed to lift you off again. Craig. Oh, man. You're going to kill me with that. I could do it, too, if I had the time. So, yeah, power to control descent. Yeah. You never, in all of this talk about these approaches, the only thing I've mentioned as far as the pitch is hold it off, hold it off, hold it off near the end. But the elevator is basically staying put on that whole glide. And that's what I mean about settling in as well. If you start waffling in the elevator, you're asking for trouble. You're already going slow. Your airflow is starting to unravel, so to say, from surfaces. So if it's locked in, it's grooving, it's settling in nice. Don't mess with your angle of attack. Maintain that glide, whatever it takes to do it. A little bit of power. If you flew to LVC and you don't have the power, nose down will get you some speed. But yeah, I'm not messing with that elevator. You're doing it with the throttle. So you want to maintain that glide slope. Because again, it is going to fall off and steepen if you don't. It's really whatever it needs. There's no one answer that you're going to apply to everything. If you watch the A10, I did a bunch of touch and go. It was on this channel, and I think on the motion video for the upgraded landing gear or whatever, I did a bunch of... Yeah, the best approaches start on the downwind leg too, by the way. You're already slow. Not too slow, but you're already slowing down in the downwind. All that good stuff. You're not a speed demon in your base leg. You're ready to go. You're settled. The best way I can explain that is, and the A10's a good video to see this in action. The whatever it takes. So there are some landings on that A10 where you can listen to the throttle and I'm blipping where I need to, there's a couple landings or touch and goes where it's like, man, that throttle sounded steady the whole time. That's perfect. Doesn't always work that way, but the landings still all look the same, even though the throttle settings are not exactly the same. There's one I think I dead stick. There's some where I'm blipping the throttle. There's maybe one or two good ones where the throttle sounded the same the whole time. But that settling in to me is like, if the airflow over this plane is a glove, it's an isotoner. It's on it. Its airflow is good. You're not slamming the controls around. There's a good groove with the relative wind over the airframe, and that's settling in nice. If you're slamming it around and you're going full speed and then you slow down a bunch in the base leg and then you're trying to catch it up and save it and establish a glide path all at the end, you're in a mitten. You're in a big old baggy mitten instead of a isotoner. That's my take. And I think good landings start on the downwind leg. This is my favorite stuff to talk about, kind of. It's actually landings. Talking about them was really one of my main pushers and why I started doing a live stream. The magic question is how much right stick below midpoint to give it for a successful landing. That's what I mean, David Martin Graff. There's not one answer. It changes. It depends on how you set up your approach. It depends on how you set up your approach. I really urge you to watch that A10 upgraded landing gear deal at Motion, and then on my channel too, and listen to the throttle. You'll see the landings look the same, but you have to give the plane what it needs. It's not always the same because you don't always enter the landing configuration from the same spot. The more you do, the better you'll be. The A10 used to scare me, the big one. And I would fly, rip it around, fly, rip it around, and then it's 3 minutes time. It's time to bring it in. I'm too hot. I'm too slow. Feeling lucky. When I finally calmed down, I'm like, all right, dude, I am just going to stay dirty. I'm going to stay in the flaps. I'm going to stay in the slow flight. Every landing was a good one because every downwind was a good one. I was already grooving. I wasn't going from cruising to flaps to gear, getting resettled in this airflow. You don't see it, but it's there. You feel it. Power is your friend, and knowing your slow flight is your friend, and getting that downwind dialed in where you're not a mile high also, because you would, if you get to pick under power or dead stick, you really need to be aiming for under power. You have the most control of your aircraft when that power's in. Now, when you're really good at reading them, you can pull it off. Some guys are dead sticking fools. But, man, I mean, power is your friend. Power is your friend. And managing that airspeed, there's no one answer. It's managing that airspeed. If you were really high when you began your approach, you are not going to need as much throttle as if you started shallower. It's called settling in. Isaac's got it. I thought it was a perfect way. I mean, I just say what I think. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, guys, check out the AMA magazine. They it looks like they're talking about landings and stuff. And my article on the E-flite Mustang is in there, which is cool. I got to check it out. Yep. That's it. It's really fun once you get it. And you'll see, so guys who are flying jets and kind of higher performance, slippery aircraft, you'll see I have a ball when I'm flying some high wing thing. I'll start way high on purpose and put it in a big old side slip, you know what I mean? Forward slip, whatever, and get it done. Because you have all kinds of time to read it, you know what I mean? And crosswind is not always fun for making video, but like that's the thing. I get to fly a lot of new stuff, and I need to turn them around. That's why companies keep coming back, is because I deliver results on these projects. But if it's just me, I know what planes I want to bring on crosswind days. They're funner, they're easier. There's no weird behavior when you couple it. Daryl, see you later, man. Roll left, roll. And honestly, too, guys, if you are having trouble with landings, think it out before you take off your plane. So when it's time to land, you're not surprised. If you are flying in a crosswind and stuff, some guys don't even try to correct on crosswind. They'll just go ahead and land with a side load on their bird. Whatever. But practice. And know, I know before I get to the field, people are funny, right? So you pilot guys get it. But like, I'll talk to a regular person. I'll be like, yeah, the wind's out of the east or whatever. I'm like, how do you know? How do you see it? How do you not see it, man? See the flag? See the leaves? See the way the birds are on the wire? You know what I mean? So I know before I get to the field what's up. Right? And also, if you know which field direction you have, east to west, pay a little bit of attention. You know if you're going to be in a cross or not too, so you can pick accordingly what you're going to bring, you know. But I always tell myself, probably for the camera roll, sometimes when the camera is rolling, okay, this is the approach. Okay, the wind's coming from you, the camera. All right, cool. Planes always want to weather vane, you know. They're going to kind of naturally establish a crab angle. You can practice a couple slow passes over the runway, see how much crab there is. It's going to be crabbing. So before I land, before I take off, I already know if the wind's coming from this way that I'm going to need right rudder to correct it. When you give it right rudder, now this wind is coming up underneath the wing, is always usually going to try to roll it to the right, get under the wing. So I call it shoulder down. So wind's coming this way, left shoulder down, right rudder. So I know when I'm coming in cross control. And the funnest part about crosswind landings is you're busy. You're doing it all at once. Throttle, pitch, rudder, aileron. And they call it cross control because you're going to do right rudder and left aileron. That's a cross control. If the wind's coming from the other way, it's left rudder and right aileron. But whatever way the wind is coming from, if you're going to rudder correct, try to feather it in. Some planes will let you establish it up high and are cool with it. Some planes, it's a little bit of a handful, so you just do it at the last minute. Usually on new planes I'm not super familiar with, you see it coming in on a crab, and I'll do it last minute. You probably don't see it. I think it would be cool to have my the camera on the sticks. Landing is one of my favorite parts too, Michael Bear. I mean, look at me. It's cool. And when you get it figured out and you hit the runway when other folks don't, I mean, it's kind of fun. And man, I mean, everybody's watching. If you're me, it's always on video, dude. Oh, I can't imagine flying without rudder. If I fly stuff without a rudder, I am always messing with the rudder. It doesn't do anything, but I mean, I was flying that Viper and trying to do stuff with the rudder. Just because planes should have a rudder. The Viper's cool. But like, don't, come on, y'all. Don't skip on rudders. Don't skip on rudders. Planes have rudders. Come on, man. You gonna get a boat without a rudder? I mean, it's the only way it's gonna steer, but you gotta have it. So yeah, man, cross control is super fun. When you finally get the audacity to kind of straighten the crab out or fly in crosswinds and things, it's super fun. And practice that stuff on high wing things that can take getting bounced around, because it's super rewarding. And the high wing stuff actually needs you to be. It can take an abuse more than maybe like getting it wrong on a jet or something fast, but the high wing stuff really kind of wants you to be on your game even more. So if you don't put your shoulder into it, so to say, it'll let you know. You know, it's going to tip you and stuff at the end. I want to say this too. You guys hear us all the time talk about cheating the approach. Sometimes we'll make an extra weird. You maybe don't see it because it's the camera's on the bird, but if it's like a big rectangle pattern and we're cheating the approach, let's say I should have a toy plane. Let me think this out. All right, so it's a right hand pattern because the wind's coming from, at our field, the east. So we're here. Most folks like a left-hand pattern better anyway. But if we're on a right-hand approach and it's a crosswind and it's also coming from the camera, our south, but we're in a right-handed pattern because it's coming from the southeast. So wind's coming this way, it's a crosswind. We're in a right-hand pattern. The plane's going to want left rudder correction and right aileron down. But think about the base leg. First of all, right turns aren't everybody's favorite. I can do them. I practice both. But if the wind is coming from the south, east, and I stay in the right-hand pattern, my base leg is more of a mess than I want it to be. So when we say we're cheating, just stay with me. I got to keep doing the circle in my mind. When we say we're cheating, we're going to cut the field over here, come around this way. So now on the base leg, we've got a headwind. We don't lose our lift. We're keeping air flowing over that plane better. If you're trying to slow down in a tailwind, you might get surprised. So it's a little more settled on approach, and so that's why we'll cheat. So instead of on the end of this right-hand pattern, we're trying to slow down and we got a tailwind in this base leg. They're models. We can fly them whatever way we want as long as we're safe. So instead of doing that and then having to resettle on your final approach, get settled on your final approach, why not stay settled? We cheat the approach. We'll come across kind of short, come around, make a left turn, which always feels better, nose into the wind mostly, maybe kind of diagonal approach, bring her in, and then correct last minute. We never really got out of the isotoner groove. You know what I mean? Good time. Good time. I swear it's like always a crosswind at our field. Yeah, you gotta learn from both directions. Most right-handed people like landing left to right. I think left-handed people like landing left to right as well. This discussion's funny too, right? Like, oh yeah, always want to land into the wind. But Joseph, like, if it's a crosswind, I'm still landing into the wind if I stay in that right-hand pattern. But if I cheat it, I'm still landing into the wind, but I've given myself the best base leg I could. Instead of a tailwind when I'm going slow, I'm still got mostly a headwind. The plane stays settled. Rabbit likes a right approach personally. a lot of guys remember um, riding bikes. When you're like getting into riding a bike and you know turning hard and stuff, it seems to always feel better and tucked and a little more confident, at least for me, and I think a lot of people, a left turn. For some reason, I don't know, maybe left-handers don't feel the same way. But when you turn to the right, even though you might be ergonomically, whatever, physically, mechanically tucked in the same, for some reason, that for me, it never feels as tucked. It always feels like you could just fly over the top, you know, more than like a left one. A left one feels better. When I want to, I've shot bow and arrow a couple times, and I what I want to do, what I think feels right, is wrong. My other eye is the dominant one, and so I got to shoot what feels like backwards. But it's the right way. But it still feels weird, you know? It's so funny. That makes sense, Matthew. Talking about ergonomics, yeah, it's a little bit easier to pull into yourself, isn't it? Than out. Also, too, I mean, if you're flying prop jobs, you do have a little bit of indirect coordination because of all the left-handed tendencies. So your left turn feels, even though I think it's true, this thing I say about the bicycles, I think that's totally true. So you've got that going for you, where I think maybe a lot of us, maybe not some of you, but I think a lot of us like that left turn tuck, feels good. It's also like Matthew says, ergonomically feels natural because it's in to yourself on the controls. But also the plane is looking better, it's flying better because it's just all the left-handed tendencies of the P factor, the torque, the slipstream, all that mess is kind of helping you. So you'll notice when you do right-handed turns, you have to be a little bit, you're in the rudder more, because to coordinate it wants to kind of skid. So yeah, cool. Bruce Beamer, can I calibrate my ESCs at the same time on the Freewing F14? Somebody want to help him out? I do not know. Michael Brill, that's not a bad trainer. I made myself practice knife edges from both directions, but I prefer to kick right rudder to do a knife edge than left. Feels better. I think Matthew's onto something there too. It's easier to move in towards your middle than out. Victor says you're supposed to calibrate a twin at the same time to sync them. Paul Dayton, that's a better way of landing. Had to land my FMS A10 in a full crosswind. Had in full flaps, got out of shape, and took out landing gear. Damn. I know a lot of guys, Paul, that if it's windy, they do not do their flaps. I personally, if I can, I will. But I totally get guys not wanting to use flaps when it's nasty. And this is, I think, why I think it's easier to keep your speed up. And you're going to need it if it's windy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, I mean, depending on the way the battery setup is, though, on those planes, Victor. Sometimes it's kind of tricky. I think I remember calibrating multi-engine ESCs by not using the battery to ESC connection, but the lead to the receiver, right? Like if you got one battery feeding one motor and one battery feeding the other motor, how do you sync them at the same time? You can't do it that quick. So you get them both plugged in, because the throttle lead to the receiver is usually a Y, even though it may be separate for the motors. Huh? So then your throttle lead, you got everything powered up. Because try to make sense of those beeps when one's doing it at a different time than the other. So receiver lead out, batteries plugged in, plug in the throttle, which is a Y, to the receiver. Now your ESC should chime at the same time. You can bring the throttle down and calibrate them easy. On multi-engines that take a separate battery for each motor, I think that's the way to go. Just saying. Mitchell Farley says he doesn't use flaps in wind. A lot of guys don't. I like flaps. Honestly, I do better. I feel like I fly better with them. A lot of times I will easily be too fast if I don't use them. But I'm a throttle guy, nose up, I've been trying to land that everything I've done on 280 feet for years and not roll off into the grass. So I really do try to go as slow as possible. Victor uses a Y battery connection. Well, then that works for you. But like these planes don't, like the A10 doesn't come with a Y battery connection. So how are you going to calibrate the ESCs at the same time? Throttle lead to the receiver. That's how. David C., good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for being a member of the channel. Thanks for the super chat. Thank you, man. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. See you next time. I just want to have the same calm demeanor that I have when I do a touch and go, when I do landing as well. Maybe I'll trick myself and make a touch and go into a landing as the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it, especially on something that you're that's got your attention, you know? It's the best way to do it. You know, I have to tell myself the same thing. Let's say I can kill it on touch and goes on a Mustang, but then I bounce that bloody landing. It's because I let it get too slow because in my head I'm landing. The best thing to do is treat that landing like a touch and go, but don't go. Bring it in on two, let the tail fly. It's going to settle down, just steer your feet. And once that tail does start to drop, you know you're slow enough to pin the tail. But if your tail is still flying, you might be fast enough to get off the ground again. So you want to kind of let it, for me, I like to let it start sitting down. And then I'll pin that son of a gun. And it depends on the plane. You know what I mean? Some of them are really, the way Mustangs are set up, North American Aviation, they just like building ground loop planes, right? T6, P-51. I guess that's it that I can think of right now. So they're just ground looping sons of guns, man. And it's just where things line up. Michael Brill says he is comfortable now with his E-flite Viper. So what's the next recommendation? Well, my question to you would be, what are you looking at now? What do you think's next for you? What kind of field do you fly at? You know, grass, pavement, what's up? And what do you got your eyes on, like a goal you want to be able to fly? Because that's the best way for me to know which way to steer you. Three-foot takeoff. Man, I've had some short takeoffs lately with that Timber X night deal. Holy smokes. And some of these Huskies and Bigfoots and stuff. I love using flaps, dude. And when it is windy, somebody said half flaps earlier. When it is windy, I try to use them. Sometimes you can go, depending on the bird or if it's got a gyro or whatever's going on, sometimes you can crank the big dog flaps. Yeah, John Graham. It's just an example. If you're listening to beeps to calibrate your throttle and you're not plugging the batteries in at the same time, it's a nightmare. Pavement High School parking lot, FMS Avanti. Here's the deal, man. I think the E-flite Viper has, you're looking at the FMS Avanti like something you want to work towards. Honestly, man, the FMS Avanti's, have you been flying like Warbirds and other stuff too? Or did you start on jets? Let me know that one. The FMS Avanti's a great bird. It's going to be higher wing loading than the E-flite Viper and require more speed and kind of space. I mean, if you're rocking the snot out of the E-flite Viper and you've got other experience too, I think the FMS Avanti might be a good choice. Also, considering the batteries you're using in E-flite Viper would be a good fit for the FMS Avanti without having to source new packs, you know what I mean? Ton of Warbirds before. Yeah, I think you're good. I think you're good. I think you can I mean, if you didn't have prior experience, I would kind of say the Avanti's maybe a little faster than you're used to. But I think you could do it, man. I think you could do it. And really, I feel like the Avanti and the E-flite Viper, if you're rocking that Viper, I feel like the Viper acts like Yaks and like the 70mm Bayhawk. And the Avanti, where it really wants you to bleed, and the Marlin for that matter, where it really wants you to bleed all the speed off, or you're going to be up. You know what I mean? So I think you can do it. I think you can do it, and you've already got the batteries. You know what I'm saying? We did video on the FMS Avanti. Maybe a couple. Actually, yeah, I think we had Bobby do it. He couldn't stand it, so we had Bobby do the maiden on it. It was getting dark. And then I flew my video on the Avanti from Winnemac at a different time. But yeah, it's a good one. Link's in the description, by the way. Nice, Tim. Tim's out of here. Paul Dayton, absolutely correct, dude. Some planes want a bunch. You know, like I agree with you. The FMS Scorpion really seems to want the lots of flaps. Hey Ryan, have you flown the Freewing 190 or Dora? Yeah. I did videos on them, and they probably did new videos on them. But yeah, I had done them. Absolutely. Bigger flies better, guys. If you want a little speed demon, pocket rocket, 1100 and below is cool. The Dora we did, I'm not even sure if it's really a Dora, but what was that? A TA-152. We did it on, I did video on 3S and 4S. That thing's a ripper. It was very neat. It was kind of like a glider. And then the 1100mm, it was like the V2 Focke-Wulf 190 from Flightline. But before that, it was Freewing. Same difference. It just got, when they changed the paint scheme and stuff, it became part of the Flightline lineup. But that son of a gun was awesome. But the smaller stuff is harder to deal with. It's harder to fly. The 980 P40B from FMS is 10 times harder to fly than the 1450 one. Now, there's a misnomer because it's small, it's easier, maybe less of a pucker, but it's still, truthfully, harder to fly than the big one. Man, it's just everything. They're heavy and they're small, so the wing loading is heavier, higher. Everything happens faster. Yeah, dude, still good, Michael Brill. You might end up wanting heavier packs for the Futura, where I kind of think the Avanti, you had the wiggle room to go with what you already had. But I think you probably work it out. I think you got the chops, dude. I do. If you're working out warbirds and stuff, and you're at a parking lot, usually those are kind of confined. I think your game is. I think the force is strong with this one. You know what I mean? I never did fly LX models. Dynam F4U Corsair, any good? Yeah, it's not bad, and I think it's bigger than 1200 mil, isn't it? Isn't that 1250 or something? I mean, not bigger by much, but Dennis Farley, you in here? What is that? Click through my link too, Michael Brill, if you're gonna buy some. Do me a favor, pilotryanmedia.com. I pay for that website to keep all my links together and all the companies I work with. It's really sweet when you guys are gonna buy stuff, especially if I helped you. You click through my website or my links in the description of the videos, and we earn a small commission on this channel, which is sweet. 1270, yeah, so it's like 50 inches, right, instead of 48. That Corsair is sweet. The dihedra looks good. When the the landing gear a lot better on it, and it's actually a good looking Corsair. It's I think it's a big 3-bladed propeller on that one, which is massive. And the thing is too, in my experience with the Corsairs, Michael Brill, thanks man so much for that. Anytime, dude, hit me up, ask me questions, I'm good for it. Not just that Corsair, but other Corsairs I've got experience with, they seem to really, Michael Bear, appreciate you, thanks. I usually always tone down the pitch a lot. There's actually a lot of elevator on a Corsair. Plenty of nose weight, not crazy. And, I like to go, 20 expo at least on the elevator. Lee Davidson, Jing sending you one. Yeah, I can't remember what battery it calls for, but I'll tell you this. A lot of times when I was doing the Dynam jobs at MRC, here you have a big 50-inch wingspan warbird. Usually warbirds are short coupled, right? With not a big long nose. So they would have like a call out or space for a 2200 4S. I'm like, man, that's hardly big enough in an 1100 millimeter warbird to CG well. How is it going to be enough to CG a 50-inch 1200 plus mil bird? So I'd cram it full of stuff to get nose weight a lot of times, right? So 2200 and a couple like extra little 2S batteries or whatever I could find, a rock, like seriously, load the nose. If it calls for a 2200 4S, probably put the biggest one in there you can, and still CG, you know what I mean? What's an APM 2.8? JT83, most clubs will work with you to help you learn how to fly. We do all the time. We teach and help pilots every day. Nice. 3300 4S, yeah, man. 3000 for Paul, cool, yeah. But you got Paul, you got one. What do you do, man? You tame that elevator down a little bit, throw some Expo on it. They're great once they're sorted, but a Corsair can be pitchy if you're not careful. Rick James, yeah. The 800 millimeter one is the hardest one to fly, right? That's when I break out the lug nuts, says Reckham Roy. Yeah, I remember flying the C-47, whatever, DC-3 from them, and I think it came with a couple extra spinners, like metal spinners, and they were solid because they spin on some little nothing shaft. And you know the way they do the compartments on the Dynams, you've got these little tiny areas. So I put those sons of guns right up in there. You know, these spinners. It was nose heavy, but it flew great. Cluckow! Corsairs can be really pitchy. Yeah. Lee Davidson has the 800 and loves it. The 800, I tell you, for a small, first of all, the 800 millimeter size for me, I don't like it, but I like it better than the 980 because at least they're light on the wing loading. The 800 millimeter Trojan and Zero, which is I think actually 850 or 900, are actually sweet little birds. They're actually sweet little birds. I remember, I don't think we ever put out the video, but I did a setup video on one of the Hobby Eagle gyros, and I was showing how to, at the time, make a 2-position switch out of the DX6i, which didn't have one. And it was something that could be done with some mixing. And the reason I knew this is because folks on RC Groups, which was my social media at the back in the day, RC Groups was where I was. And so I knew you could do, and I had done 2-position flaps, so neutral, half, and full flaps on a DX6i. And everybody's like, you can't do that. Yeah, you can. It's in the book. And guys are doing it. You just have to read the book and do the mix. So because of that, I knew and thought that I could do, utilize all the functionality of this gyro that had like 3 positions or 2 positions or whatever. So I did a video on how to make that happen with the DX6i, and my test bed was the Trojan, but I don't think I ever flew it for camera. But I did have a gyro in the 800 millimeter Trojan and flew it in crazy stuff, wind-wise, and it was super fun. Honestly, I have so much footage, it's not even funny. Did I use all the weights on the Flightline Corsair? I can't remember. Barry Campbell, good large-scale Corsair. It's got to be the Flightline one right now, the 1600 millimeter Corsair. Barry. Yeah, Craig, planning on going tomorrow. Yeah, keep practicing, you know, and listen to what these planes tell you. 1400 is a good size. I think, so 1500 is a great size, but at that point you really need 6S. So 1400, 1450, I think 4S guys can still have a ripping good time. And I think it's a big miss there's not more of that. Yeah, that big Corsair is amazing. And it really likes it when you reverse the ailerons on your Maiden. I tell you what, I should take that plane out every time I come and just see if it does it again. Because there's just this... there's a weird part of me that wants to see it do it on its own. Reverse. Like some just weird thing. Because then I'd be like, yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Michael Brill, you know, the P47 has such a wide undercarriage. It's a great one to mess with crosswinds and stuff with. And I would say if you don't think you had a good handle of it on the ground, you might increase your throw a little bit and see if it helps you. Or just get really assertive. Just if you've got space, the more you can drive those things on the ground or shoot touch and goes, and the thing about a touch and go, you've already got such good speed, it's going to track pretty well. But it's the takeoff and landing and roll out and stuff where you really have to be diligent about steering your feet, staying on the rudder. But the P47 is a great bird to learn that on. No, it was me, huh, Dennis? Man, I miss having a FMS Trojan, honestly. I keep thinking about getting the 48-incher E-Flight one again. I mean, I worked it up years ago for MRC, but SpaceX. JT83, yeah, if you're wanting to fly at any of these nicer clubs, that's usually going to be a requirement that you have an AMA membership. Basically, it's easy. They'll take your money and then give you a card. That's it. And then it's the club that you might join that would be the ones to maybe want to see you go through a process, which is sometimes flying with the trainer at the club, maybe a little bit of buddy box stuff, some basic things, you know. That 2-meter Trojan does just float forever. Man, I'm like everybody else. I just wish it had another blade and just a little bit of bells and whistles, mostly better landing gear. The landing gear held up for me. I just didn't like that they weren't suspension. It's too bad. Yeah, I pay my dues AMA via PayPal. And then, yep, they'll send you a card in the mail. Yeah, and you get a magazine that sometimes your buddies write articles for. Air Tractor's a good one, yeah. I actually want to take it out some more. I want to take out the... Man, I want to fly a bunch of stuff. I have a... Guys, you know I have a all bunch of cool toys. You know, I definitely want to... man, how long have we been going? Oh my gosh. We still got 110 up in here. We didn't get kicked out this time, though. Man, we were clipping along last time and got kicked out like 3 times. I love it. So many members, guys. We got like 55 guys like join the memberships. That's super cool. Super cool. John Graham says, gives you some insurance when you smack something with your plane also. Yeah. I don't know exactly how that works. Do you have to be at a sanctioned AMA field, or is that insurance going to cover you when you're somewhere weird? I thought you had to be at a sanctioned field. Ha! That's nice of you, George Watts. George says he hears there's a great article in the Current Model Aviation magazine. Know anything about that, Ryan? I might. I can't wait to see it, actually. The E-Flight P51, I got to write an article about it. Furball wants to talk about trucks. Ha. I tell you, I don't want to start a truck channel, but I do want to start a truck channel. Because I feel the pressure of some guys just not giving a rip or wanting to hear it. But it's like, also, it's like, it kind of, I mean, yeah, it's community, it's our channel, but it's my channel, man. I mean, I could do a cooking show, right, Kenny? I could do a cooking show if I want. X-Max Gen 8. Yeah, man, they're a good time. Joe says the AMA covers you anywhere. Wow, that's good to know. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I've been fortunate. Julian Clockow says it's Pilot Ryan. I know it's Pilot Ryan. I'm not changing the name though. I mean, if I had a truck channel, I'd probably still be Pilot Ryan's Trucks or something. Pilot Ryan's a branding thing at this point. It cannot change, really. Trucking Tuesdays. Wrenching Wednesdays. How about that? Clockow says he'd sub to the cooking show. I bet I could get 1,000 pretty quick though if I did a truck channel. Chuck G says he got his copy today, man. Yeah, check out the E-Flight article on the P51 if you want to see me try to write. I barely got out of high school, by the way. I think that's hilarious. I think that's hilarious that I've been published many times and I barely got out of high school. I think that's hilarious. Yes, when you fly trucks, you are still a pilot. Yeah, I think the X-Max thing I called like the maiden flight, man. Bruce Beamer, it does take a while sometimes to get the Teespring stuff in. Did you order something? John Graham, let's do trucks. What is a good truck I can buy for my 9-year-old that I can fix cheap and make better when he gets to be a better driver? Now, so much stuff is out of stock right now, but I would urge you to look at the Arrma Granites. They have a brushed version that's ready to run. That's brushed, a little slower. It will run off 2S LiPo, but it comes with a nickel metal battery that you can use. If you want to switch to LiPo battery, there's just a little jumper pin on the ESC that you can switch. It's 4-wheel drive. It's easy to fix. They also have a brushless version that's 3S. Now, it's going to be pretty fast, but they come with the Spectrum radio. I've got tons of them. I don't use them because I got a DX5C. But the Spectrum Surface radio comes with there's a slider switch there at the base. It says 50, 75, and 100. So you can turn down the speed. So if you got the brushless Granite, 50%, you could still run 2S on it. 2S and 3S. It's going to be LiPo and it's a brushless motor. It's a better truck, but it's $100 more as well. And it doesn't come with any battery. So I think the Granite's probably a good one. And with the Arrma stuff, so many of the parts are interchangeable. So if you end up having, let's say, Typhon or a Senton later, some of those use the same A-arms and stuff too. So yeah, it takes a while to get your stuff on the Teespring. Yeah, I haven't driven. The only Traxxas thing I've driven is the X-Max. Now that's a big money truck. It's not a beginner truck. The Slashes seem to be pretty solid. They come in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive options. Actually, if you click through my Hobby Zone link, you can check out the Traxxas stuff at Hobby Zone, and you can also check it out. It seems that you can find it also through my Amazon store also. It's not on the store, so you'd have to go into Amazon, click through and then go search it out. But I would look at the Hobby Zone stock first and see what's up. But yeah, Slash, short course trucks are pretty durable actually. The bodies take a lot of abuse, So the only time I broke an A-arm on my Senton was because I was doing a backflip at the skate park. I wish I had video of everything, guys. I've really learned how to run these things. That's not a bad idea, John T. Thanks, George. You're nice. See, a lot of us are just friends, and you guys are going to listen anyway. Yeah, Clicaldi. The what's nice about and I mean honestly, the Typhon is a great truck too. They actually might have what they call the Mega version of the Typhon at Horizon. Now it's going to be the same thing, brushed, ready to run. And what's cool is if you did want to upgrade the motor and stuff, it's not hard to do. These pods just slide out. And you just have to make sure everything's on the up and up with your ESC and things like that to handle it. But so they do have it. Now the one reason I like the Typhon is because it's a buggy. The Granite, the Senton, and the Typhon out of the Arrma group really have the smaller tires. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because that's kind of a good thing. Because the bigger the tires are, the more likely you are to end up on noses and rear ends. Like, you want to see real quick? I don't have the Granite down here, but because I turned the Granite, I had enough parts left over from one of these that I turned my Granite into one of these, but short wheelbase. So here's the deal. So the Granite tires are smaller than, like, let's say something like the Creighton. The Creighton is a great value. 1/10 runs on 3S and 4S. It's badass. But the tires are big enough that this son of a gun will backflip on you if you're not paying attention, right? You don't want that. You not when you're learning. So something like the Granite has smaller tires. The Senton has smaller tires. The Typhon has smaller tires. So you can learn how to just rip around, and when you do want to jump them, they stay in shape better. They're not. It takes a lot to backflip the Typhon. I mean, I got to go full throttle, full send, and hit my launch ramp to come around once on a backflip. Where this Creighton will flip 3 times, where the Typhon will only come around once. You know what I mean? So because it's cheap. I mean, the Mega, they call it a Mega, but it's the brushed version of the Typhon. And they have a Mega Granite as well, which I think is only 2-wheel drive. They're going to be cheaper, right? I think something like $199, $219 instead of $299. But if you're not afraid, I mean, go brushless. You know what I mean? You know, there's so much, the Traxxas stuff, they have every kind of Stampede you could want. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, brushed, not brushed. You can go many different ways. Let's see what I miss. Dana's RC, what I missed? What'd you say, Air Marshal? Yeah, bumpers and full body help save the suspension parts on a Slash. Will a 4S 2600 be okay to use on an E-Flite Turbo Timber? I think you'll be all right. I missed I missed it, but my next Traxxas vehicle. Oh man, Rick James, that's too bad. You know, they discontinued that FMS T45, and that might be why. If you're loving the shape of the Hawks, you have to look at the 70 Freewing makes. I think the 80 the FMS makes is fantastic. I think the 80 is honestly my favorite one out of all of them. And I have the 90 T45. And I mean, you look at the red arrows, you know, it's a T45. You know what I mean? So I know the paint scheme is different and everything, but I think it's the best one. All right, young blood. See you later. Yeah. So my next Traxxas is probably going to be a TRX4. I want the one with this, the 2-speed transmission. But I love that Unlimited Desert Racer short course thing. But I'm probably going to have a Mojave. And I've been looking at Losi stuff. Their Losi DB and the DB are sick looking. They look like a short course truck, but without the short course body. Eddie K, I don't know when I'm going to Muncie again. Jaden says he never has to fix his kids' slashes. Ryan O. Oh, don't feed the trolls, man. Pearls before swine, man. You guys don't agree with each other, but you keep talking to each other. You just it's bound to keep on going round and round. Pun intended. Talking about flat Earth or something. Michael Brill doesn't like AS3X. RC Air Marshal, I'm telling you. I cannot wait for stuff to get back in stock over there. I just got to keep... Guys, I am trying to grow this channel, this business. It's amazing how it's gone. It's amazing how long I've been doing it. It's crazy that I took a 5-year break from this channel. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Man. Where we might be. But it's cool. So, yeah, man, I gotta keep it up. And you guys help, you know what I mean? If you're not into Surface, don't watch it. Michael Bear doesn't like AS3X either. I generally have absolutely no problem with it. There is a show I want to do talking to our buddy Adam, though, who gets into these pre-programmed AS3Xs and tweaks on them. So he's increased his elevator on the F18 and those kinds of things. Million plus. Oh my gosh, I'd be 100K would just be killer. I mean, 12K is awesome. I just want to do a better job, you know? And it takes crazy numbers to be able to. That's the thing. Waz! I didn't do anything with the MIG nose gear because I'm flying it box stock. So y'all can figure out what you want to do with the nose gear. This is going to be my last outing with the MiG-29 box stock. If I don't like it on the 3200 6S that I got just to fly this thing, then I will probably put a spacer in the cylinder where the spring resides and stiffen it up. That will limit my travel a little bit and give me a stiffer front strut. Yeah, cool, Dana's RC, thanks. Yeah, I need to just do it here, honestly. My wife thinks I'm nuts for considering another channel, but it really is all about wrenching. I do not want to make an edited piece on how to change A-arms, but I want to show changing A-arms and carrier hubs and upgrades and have fun with folks. But it's just hard to do. It's hard to want to do a live stream with the trucks because I don't, there's just too many of us doing streams at the same time. Furball, I hope you're right. I just don't know when I would do it, you know. If I had a truck channel, I could do it whenever I want because I don't think I'd be stepping on anybody's toes. Only the guys who really, really, really wanted to come would come. Like the control panel and all the way back when your show was opening. Oh yeah, thanks. Paul McNeil, that'd be awesome. Klakow, I have not flown the Super Sabre, but man, we definitely should over here. I'm not sure if anybody has those yet, do they? I'll tell you, it's a strange time. There is a lot of stuff that is not in stock, man. I totally get the guys who don't want AS3X and gyros, but I totally get the guys who do. It's a load off sometimes, especially if, you know what, listen, I work in the business, right? I make videos. I'll have projects to do, and let's say it's windy, because it always stinking is. It's a load off to be taking up the AS3X bird in nasty conditions over something that doesn't have it. It just is. I'm going to be able to make a better looking video and might enjoy myself some more. Trucks is a different audience, Chuck, I know. But what's better, right? So start a brand new channel from zero. I'm already behind the 8 ball because I spent 5 years building someone else's. But start from zero and, you know, take forever to get the views and stuff. Or do them here and at least get, you know, some. I can't decide. It sounds like a lot of work. I'll probably keep it here. And again, like if I've got attention from Horizon, I've been talking to one of the fellas about Surface. I think the reason they would be interested is because of my numbers and stuff over here. So starting from zero, I don't think they'd be interested. I think the angle is partly the crossover. I was super surprised how many guys do Surface or are interested in it. And then you watch other big channels that do everything. Banggood, this and that, Surface that, Fly this. Why they get to do everything? Why can't I? I mean, I know I've been the air guy forever. Yeah. So that's what's up, guys. We're rolling on 3 hours. I don't want to keep you. Really, I have been going all day long. So I'm gonna geek out to some YouTube or something. I need to edit videos. Get ready for tomorrow. Try to go out and film some. And I would like to have uh, get the T33 maiden done for Dennis, but it's I don't see it happening. I'd like it. Keep it here. I agree, Dad. I think so too, man. The more I think about it, it's the wrenching on him is the big hang up for me right now. You know what I mean? So if I do a wrenching show, then it might be at the same time as one of these air guys. I hate that, but it's like, geez, dude. I mean, what are you gonna do? What, man? I got the ambition, you know. Man, I mean, what? There's more shows than there are days in the week. Click how I have not used graphene lipos. That's nice. I can cook my packs too pretty quick. Yeah, man. Hobby King doesn't want nothing to do with working with me, so that's cool. The feeling's mutual. I don't care. I don't care. That's why I don't do Banggood stuff either. Not worried about it. Yeah, guys, you like the landing stuff. I do too. Thanks. Get us out of here and get some sleep. Yeah, man. Yeah, landing talking is always good. Get me talking about that stuff. I can have a blast. I think that's why y'all like me. We forget, you know, what we're here for. But it's like, yeah, man, this dude is nuts. Like, oh, yeah, they do that. They do want that. There's nobody who can not take off as good as me. You know, there's nobody who can not rotate or touch a no as good as me. Who was it? Somebody in the comments said something about touch and no. I think it was Dave's RC. I was like, man, that's good. I'm gonna use that. JT83, super nice of you. Say thank you. For sure, someday I can get to be in total control of my flight. Can you still get AS3X with a P and F receiver? You can buy receivers that have AS3X capability. Is what a challenge, Rhino. Oh yeah, Chuck, have a good vacation. Bobby K is he's hanging with friends. He's somebody, one of his close people's having a baby shower. That bitch Baskin Robbins, Carol Baskin. Shalowski's back. We're gonna leave, but good to see you back. All right, yeah, 3 hours, guys. You know what to do. Look, if you're going shopping, Pilot Ryan Media website. It's easy. You don't have to farm links out of my descriptions. Go to pilotryanmedia.com. Click on your favorite branded icon. The image of the Horizon Hobby logo. Hobby Zone logo. HSD Jets. Whatever logos. The t-shirt. It's all there. To make it easy. Of course, yes, the links are in the description of the videos. Asking for a Baskin. But, thanks. You guys are doing a great job with that, and I super, super, super appreciate it. And I don't know, you know, unless you tell me, I don't know who is using the links. I just see what goes through. But some of you guys tell me, and that's great to know that you got it. Because honestly, it's too bad that you have to say it all the time. To be honest with you, I hate having to say it, but you have to say it. You have to remind folks, because they're gonna go buy it half the time anyways. It's like, man, just a couple clicks doesn't cost you nothing. So do that thing. Same with the likes and all that crap. You know what I mean? Smash the bell, turn it on, so you don't miss out. Because sometimes I do release stuff unlisted, and you won't know unless you're following along, and you get the community post notifications and things like that. Do I want to know? Does who want to know? Let me, 2 minutes, I'll go. Rabbit, thanks for dropping the link. Let's see. Michael Bear, thank you for coming by. Dana's RC is back. We're leaving. Futura on the way. Michael Brill, awesome. Fist bump. John Graham likes the batteries from Hobby King. The Turn G has never failed me. Might just be lucky, but cheap and fun to fly with. That's cool, man. Guys do what they want to do on batteries. It's cool. I really only vocally support my buddies, which are people and companies that work with me. So that's RC Jetworks. He sells Roaring Tops. Smart batteries have been great for me. That's it. You know what I mean? Admirals were great for me forever. But now I don't buy them anymore because I'm gonna get Roaring Tops and Smart Packs because of the relationships I have now currently. So but yeah, I mean, folks are having tremendous success with other brands, you know, and it's that poor dead horse, the same as the radio. It's like that poor thing, you know. You do what's right for you. I don't have any experience with them though. William, yeah, thanks, man. You guys are great. I appreciate it. Joe Pellegrino, that's great. I'm sorry. It does take forever. I ordered my coffee mugs, my hoodie, like all kinds of stuff. Need a t-shirt? Pilot Ryan, links in the description. 200 driver. One of my milestones on this channel was hitting 10K. And the reason 10K was a milestone for me, one of the most important reasons that 10K was a big deal for me, was that my shirt store comes up underneath all my videos. You can see a bunch of I Love RC stuff, some airplane things. That's my merch right there integrated with YouTube. Also, if you're on the homepage of this YouTube channel, you know how you've got about, community, videos, store. If you click that store, that takes you also to the Teespring store. And it's at pilotryanmedia.com along with everything else that's clickable that helps support the channel. Web designer Wendell Farley and I worked together to build that web page as one place that consolidated it all to keep it easy. So, thanks, guys. Yeah, I use them all the time. I mean, I still have loads of Admirals. I used them for years, and I had great success with them. I only killed a few, but I had it coming. They were old and had been abused. Nobody wants to see you fly as slow as you can. That's right, Rhino. Just trying to get the most for my money, says John. I get it, dude. I get no problem. I just don't have experience with them. And since Hobby King could give a rip, I'm not going to buy them. Thanks, Dana's RC. Nice, Matthew. What phrase? 200 driver? Say it again real quick. Can we get an autograph on a shirt? That'd be generic, right? Then everybody'd have it. William's got mugs. Cool. Yeah, it takes a while. Awesome. I got a strawberry shake up there calling my name, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the videos this week. I was really going heavy for a minute. I think I've missed a day or two. But we're going to, I got so much to plow through. We'll try to keep bringing it. So I'll see you in the next video, guys, or next Saturday. And you never know. Keep your eye on Facebook, because when we do go to the field, a lot of times I will go live for a minute. So with that, whose autograph? Billy Idol. All right, with that, autograph. It would have to be printed on, or I'd have to get it and then send it to you and stuff. Come on, y'all don't want my autograph. That's crazy. Pilot Ryan, links in the description. Oh, I got you. I don't know if I'm ready for that. That's not a bad one, though. Click it. That's the one thing I could see being a curse about being full-time, truly, like I want to be, if I thought folks weren't clicking links, I'd want to wring their necks. I'd be like, y'all, listen, gotta click it. All right. 5. Hanger Rats forever. 3 you later. You're too good to be forgotten. We'll see you next time. You guys know there's shows all week long. See you in those shows. Tomorrow's Boozers, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Links in the description. No, not for him, for me. All right, guys.